Welcome to the NetApp Storage Efficiency Meets Compute Optimization. My name is Ronald Schwartz and I'm joined by Tomer Adassi. Hi, Tomer.
Hey, Ronan. Great to be here with you today.
In this session, we're going to talk about the fact that cloud is not a place. It is actually a working model. And there is no better place than reInvent to learn more about this model. Tomer and I are from NetApp, and we are focused on application-driven infrastructure on AWS. When each of you is looking to build your application, looking to innovate, to do something new, you're building that on infrastructure. And NetApp is focused on optimizing the infrastructure for any application and workload. And by that, what we mean is optimize the storage with an enterprise-class shared storage platform. We're talking about optimizing compute and containers for continuous automation and optimization. And we're talking about modernizing your workplace with an infrastructure platform focused on virtual desktops. The partnership between NetApp and AWS did not start yesterday. It actually started multiple years ago. And I love this picture that is kind of showing Dave Hitz, our founder, the NetApp founder, and he's here together with the person that started Amazon many years ago, Jeff Bezos.
Who's the lucky guy in the middle?
I'm not sure I know his name, but he sure knows how to pick good friends. And even though this picture that was taken in 1985 is not is not the date that we start our partnership did start more than 10 years ago.
So today, NetApp is supporting top 10 companies in virtually any industry and vertical. Anything from aerospace and defense to automotive, high-tech, insurance, life sciences, manufacturer, telcos, software and IT, and anything in between. You'll find some of the largest companies in the space are adopting NetApp's cloud offerings to make the best out of their cloud. Not only that, NetApp also supports a variety of cloud workloads, from use cases in oil and gas applications, relational databases, VDI and robo file services, app dev environments, media and entertainment, SAP deployments, disaster recovery, containers, of course, custom applications, genomic pipelines and processing, e-commerce websites and their high traffic during the fluctuating times in the year, and really anything in between those.
If you're working in any one of these industries, if you have any one of these workloads, this is the right session for you. We're actually going to discuss how to enable an application-driven infrastructure in the cloud. We're going to show you how to transform your cloud storage to support your new needs. And you will be able to learn how to optimize the cloud compute and get the most out of your AWS cloud. So let me start. Tomer, I know you already talked to the audience, but maybe this is your opportunity to kind of officially introduce yourself.
Thank you, Ronan. So, hey everyone, great to be here with you. My name is Tomer. I lead the solution architecture and field engineering here at Spot by NetApp. For the past few years, I've been specializing in optimizing and running clouds in the most efficient way possible. I'm happy to share some of that with you today.
And I'm Ronald Schwartz, the General Manager and SVP leading NetApp Cloud Volumes. Really happy to be here with you. So let me start sharing information with you about the data fabric. Data fabric is the data that is available anywhere inside your organization. It's really anywhere and everywhere, in every form imaginable. And it is growing by the minute. It is growing in the location as well. And it is so critical for the different teams in the organization to really do their job. It is critical. The business actually depends on the data fabric for execution of simple operation as well as complex and advanced analytics. It is actually critical for every function in the organization. But this data fabric is actually changing. It is changing because IT is modernizing, and it is now focused on delivering seamless hybrid experience to ensure your data is always on, always available, and easy to consume. And if we're looking into this environment and basically the challenges that exist within the data fabric, you actually like in any other organization, you need to adopt new capabilities, and especially new cloud capabilities. The secret word that I'm going to repeat is OnTAP. OnTAP is actually a well-tested, proven technology focused on storage that supports infrastructure anywhere. And to give you a little bit more insight into the secret sauce behind OnTAP, the first part is unified storage, single place where you can use NFS and SMB and iSCSI. It is a lot about storage efficiencies, and I'll double click on that in about a minute. It is about enhanced performance, and I'm going to give you a lot of more details about that because performance is so critical for your application success in the cloud. It is about protection and security of the data and about monitoring and management. Again, critical to your success. And if we are continuing down that route and we're kind of double clicking, then I do want to give you a little bit more details about storage efficiencies. Thin provisioning is one of these things that if you didn't know that it existed, you would just pay more. It actually means that you can provision a larger amount of storage, but really consume the storage as you need it. So this is what thin provisioning, the provisioning is taking care of the amount of storage you are paying for. Another critical efficiency is deduplication. Keeping the data compact and actually removing duplications is another critical capabilities that you get out of the box with the OnTAP capabilities. Compression and the ability to adopt the compression to the workload is another helpful part. And then the ability to take actually smaller data sets and really append them together to get even more efficiencies. Data tiering is one of these secret sauce that allow you to have some of your data in a lower tier and still achieve the same performance because the more needed, frequently used data is available in a higher tier. And Flex Clone that give you an instant zero penalty thin clone is another huge efficiency benefit that you can get out of the box. So I shared with you all of these critical capabilities that give you efficiency. How about data protection? So NetApp OnTAP is bringing you a couple of super deep technologies. The first one is snapshots. Snapshots allowing you instantaneously and with zero penalty on performance to really create a snapshot of the data as it exists today. And Snap Mirror is similarly allowing you to basically in a hybrid cloud environment have a continuously efficient data transfer, moving the data from an on-premise instance to the cloud or from one instance to another. So these are all great efficiencies. Let's actually go further with further and look into how you can use these efficiencies and achieve better results. Cloud Volume OnTAP is your AWS solution. This is taking the OnTAP capabilities and putting it into the cloud in an optimized way. It gives you the entire OnTAP capabilities. It is introducing enterprise-grade storage available and automated on AWS. It is consuming the AWS native compute and storage services. So it is actually part of your fabric, and it is available in either a pay-per-use or in a pay-per-use or consumption base or on a monthly basis. So this is actually a great way for you to get the entire Cloud Volume platform on AWS. So we talked about OnTAP, the secret sauce. Now I want to introduce to you the entire Cloud Volume platform. So at the core of it is the OnTAP capabilities. And then around that, you can look into one unified platform for cloud storage. It does mean that you have also, in addition to the storage itself, a vast set of data services that are basically all easily configured from a single location or through a single API. Things like backup and backup policies, synchronization, and so on are all available very easily through a same UI or a single API. And what this is actually enabling you to do today or as soon as you get back home is basically to use disaster recovery to your and business continuity to the application you're running or you're writing. It gives you a very easy setup of backup. It allows you to dev and test, to move from development environment to test and production. It allowing you to easily adopt containers and Kubernetes. It have a great support for DevOps and really empower mission critical workload to work successfully. So where is the value? I explained the core capabilities. I kind of touched upon how it will help you. I want to be now even more specific. So more specifically, with NetApp Cloud Volumes, we'll empower you to develop faster. Why? Because we simplified the DevOps and accelerate to time to market. Instead of the developer needing to define how to work with different storage protocol, they're basically supported out of the box. You actually have backup and snapshots and clones as a very easy configuration. And the same way for containers and Kubernetes, they're already integrated, and automation and API are easily available for you. So developer productivity is higher. The second value that you can take with you tomorrow back to your company is migrate the unmigratable, and of course also the migratable. Many organizations and almost everyone have a lot of investment that they've done and implemented on premise. Different workloads like your ERP or CRM or others are running on premise every day. Seamless migration with Snap Mirror is allowing you to take the application as is and really run it into the cloud. Amazing support for lift and shift of workload to AWS, and this is actually without any need to refactor, and all the automation and the ecosystem that you created around the application is moving together with the application. What I want to emphasize is this is not just good for the simple, less demanding application. It is available for the most demanding application, like your heavy load ERPs, your high performance compute application. It is available across the board. So this is basically allowing you to migrate the unmigratable into the cloud tomorrow. Last but not least important, some organizations are looking to just start their journey into the cloud, and they're looking to do that by extending their data center to AWS. Again, with NetApp, this is available with a very easy configuration. Simple data movement between AWS and your on-premise environment is allowing you to tier data into the cloud, to backup data into the cloud, and really work in a cloud hybrid environment in a seamless way. Your OnTAP on-premise is connected to your Cloud Volume OnTAP on AWS, giving you all of these great capabilities. So to summarize it, you are now able to leverage on AWS OnTAP natively. You can start doing it tomorrow. You have standard file and block interfaces. This is available for you from the AWS marketplace to use inside your AWS environment. It have a built-in data protection and mobility. It have enhanced performance that fits the highest workloads. It is very easy to use, whether it's through API or through the UI. It is ready for your containers work and your microservices innovation. It does accelerate your CI/CD interfaces, and it is very, very importantly, reducing your storage cost in a very, very significant way. So I shared with you all of these capabilities that are kind of falling into the storage bucket. This is the opportunity for us to jump into the compute, continuous automation, and optimization. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Ronan. That was really insightful and really interesting to see how NetApp took all that brilliance and capabilities it's been building for years in storage and really ported it over to the cloud to enable customers to more seamlessly and get a lot more flexibility and value out of their cloud. And from here, I'd love to share how NetApp can also do that on compute and how we're able to enable customers on AWS to run continuous automation and optimization by leveraging NetApp's product, Sweet Spot. Some of the common key challenges we really see in cloud infrastructure is Making sure you maintain SLAs, that by default is not too hard. AWS is going to give you 4 nines if you pay for on-demand machines. But doing that while controlling costs is getting a bit harder. And at the same time, taming complexity and not doing a million different complicated models to manage that makes it even harder. And really, we at Spot by NetApp are trying to simplify that challenge while allowing you to maintain a 4.9 SLA for your uptime, control your costs efficiently, and do that with very minimal complexity and kind of a plug-and-play approach where you can quickly optimize any workload you'd like. So how do we actually solve this? Let's dive deeper into that. So the first thing we want is really to go in an application-driven approach. Instead of spending so much time doing the undifferentiated work of optimizing infrastructure for your business, we want your applications to help you define what the infrastructure really is. So the first thing we discussed with Ronald was obviously that you want to optimize your storage anywhere and everywhere. You want to make sure that your storage is intelligent enough and optimized enough to support the needs you have of your applications, but also not stay over-provisioned when you pay per gigabyte per hour. So I want to help you optimize your storage while maintaining performance. Next, I want to focus on one of the other big pillars of infrastructure, which is obviously compute. So I want to make sure that we leverage automation and optimization to deliver and maintain both your SLAs and SLOs while leveraging the most efficient compute resource available in AWS for that workload. And lastly, application-driven infrastructure also means simplified infrastructure. It means that automation and changes at the infrastructure level happen dynamically and automatically as applications change and don't require you to go back and optimize it every time a change happens. So if you'd like to think about the shift that's happening, we used to deliver software once every few months or even few years. Not too long ago, 15 years ago maybe, that was perfectly okay to ship an update once a year. And that was not too hard to figure out, are you running the right infrastructure for that or not? But today, in the world of CI/CD, we're shipping software potentially dozens, if not hundreds of times even per day. And that means that optimization does not align with it very well if it's still happening as an event. We don't want to go and optimize infrastructure when it's time to do so on a calendar. We want infrastructure to optimize based on the applications in real time. So we want everything to be dynamically extending this world of CI/CD, continuous integration and delivery, to CO, continuous optimization. Your infrastructure at the storage level and at the compute level should be continuously optimized and continuously find the best resources for you based on your application demands. Okay, so what does that actually mean in practice when you're running those workloads? Leveraging Spot by NetApp, we're able to leverage AWS's excess capacity, you guessed it, Spot instances, while maintaining those SLAs. Now, what will that actually mean to you? So Spot instances get you 70 to 90% discount compared to the on-demand rates. They're available across all instance types, shapes, sizes, in all availability zones. But their availability is not backed by SLA from AWS. And that means they can get reclaimed with a 2-minute notification at any time of the day. What we have found at Spot is that capacity always exists somewhere. Discuss that for a moment in the next slide, but I do want to focus on how do we maintain SLAs. So unlike the traditional approach, which you would see in the top left graph, of a replacement of excess capacity. So let's imagine you have 100 nodes and you've done the good work of distributing them across a variety of pools, so you're not losing all of them at once when they get reclaimed. But you do lose a bunch. You lose 10, you lose 15. What you'll do then is you'll go down from 100 to 85 nodes, and then you'll immediately trigger a scale up and go up to 100. And then you're faced with one of two challenges. You either over-provision, so when you face that 15 node drop, you're still meeting SLAs, and then you're paying extra, even though you're leveraging a more sophisticated pricing model. Or alternatively, you don't over-provision and you break your SLAs at a random point in time, which you cannot predict in advance. And this is what we've come to change. By running hundreds of thousands of concurrent machines, we're leveraging the real-time data we have to predictively rebalance your clusters. So instead of letting the cluster go from 100 to 85 and then recover back to 100, we'll know that this operation is about to happen, go from 100 to 115 nodes, and then drain the other 15 that are about to be reclaimed and go back to normal capacity. All of that happens programmatically, and to get this plugged into any one of your clusters, all you need is a single API call, Terraform, or CloudFormation call. More importantly, obviously, if there's no excess capacity in the pools you're trying to leverage right now, you will need to build a mechanism to be able to start launching on-demand machines. With the Spot by NetApp platform, you're able to do that immediately as part of the plug-and-play mechanism that SLA mechanism is built in. And I want to take it one step further. If we're already able to launch instances and manage them, why not do it in a much more flexible approach? So instead of using the same instance type, shape, size, and pricing model again and again, we're saying, let's run much more heterogeneous infrastructure. Let's actually make the best use possible of the cloud. It's all there. The cloud provider, AWS, has kind of left this for us to use, and we need to make the best out of it. And they've built a lot of technology and a ton of capabilities, and the more we can leverage out of it, the better our companies will be. So what we're normally seeing is that companies will choose a single instance type, or maybe two, and they'll scale up based on demand, and then they might have some degraded performance because they haven't scaled fast enough, or they have over-provisioning because they've scaled too fast, and they're stuck with too many resources. And now, if they've been efficient, they kept a baseline of resources and committed that to AWS for reserved or savings plans discounts. But then they start scaling up on-demand instances where they pay a premium for them. Spot by NetApp, we're saying let's do something different. Let's keep that baseline on reservations and savings plans because that is a reliable and efficient pricing model. But those flexible resources want to run heterogeneous infrastructure, different machine types, shapes, sizes, and pricing models based on what your applications actually need will spin up in real time. This will eliminate under-provisioning because the auto-scaling will be more application-driven. So we eliminate over-provisioning because we're tightly coupling it with the requests of the application. And because we're using many different types of boxes, we're sort of playing a Tetris game of getting you the perfect shape of resources for your applications. Now, I've mentioned something about the spot markets or spot capacity pools and how can we leverage them reliably. On the left bar chart, you will see what would be an already fairly optimized infrastructure or environment as a whole. Don't think about it as a single cluster. Normally, that's something we'll see. A lot of the environment running on demand, a portion of it running on commitments, and a small fraction leveraging excess capacity or spot instances. What we do here at Spot is really aggregate all that data on all the Spot instances and the Spot capacity pools in AWS in terms of rate of interruption, availability, savings, behavior over time, and the real-time perspective on what's happening. Every one of those capacity pools gets a score that is in real time updated by our backend. And using that data, we're able to kind of shift the scale towards more and more spot instances as time goes on. Our customers are able to run 100% production workloads on spot instances. Last year at reInvent, we actually shared 2 talks, one with Ticketmaster and one with VMware, discussing how they've been able to run production workloads 100% on spot instances by leveraging all that data we have and the real-time orchestration to maintain SLAs. And really leave the trust and leave the complexity behind and let an automated mechanism handle this for you. Now, to take this one level deeper, I want to kind of better understand what this means to run these optimizations. So let's take the example of containers. Clusters like Kubernetes in EKS or ECS, or your own Kubernetes distributions that you're deploying on top of EC2 machines. So I want to optimize your Kubernetes workers or your container workers at 3 different layers in order to achieve maximum performance and minimum cost, while doing all of it dynamically, again, based on the real-time needs of your applications. So the first layer where we optimize is the one we've just discussed. We want to get the infrastructure provisioning and pricing right. So we want to make sure that all the commitments you've made to AWS are first and foremost utilized, and that you feel comfortable with those commitments, and that you know that this is the right thing for you to do. Then we're going to use them all up. Now, when that is done, we'll start leveraging all the data we have to allow you to keep scaling up on spot instances to gain the benefits of the better pricing model. And I want to take this one layer up to the container-driven scaling. Basically, in real time, our platform will take a look at all the containers and microservices running in your orchestrator. We'll be able to see all the requests they make in terms of CPU, disk sizes, networking throughputs. In the case of Kubernetes, the Kubernetes constructs such as taints, tolerations, affinities, anti-affinities, disruption budgets, persistent volume claims, and anything in between that. And then we want to aggregate all that metadata from all your applications to figure out, and again, launch all the right instances for you in real time, while constantly running bin packing and optimization simulations to understand if things can be reshuffled to better leverage resources while maintaining SLAs and reducing spend. This is sort of the Tetris scaling you might want to think about, where a large instance and a 32 extra large or a bare metal instance can sit next to each other in a cluster and both be 100% utilized and be the most efficient and cost-effective way to answer an application's need without any need from the user to define it. Everything should happen in real time based on the application requirements. Lastly, we then want to make sure that the application is actually behaving well with the requirements it's making. So I want to start observing and right-sizing the applications or the containers themselves. So we got all the requests from all the developers around, and we make sure that they have exactly all the infrastructure they need without needing to talk to any one of them. But if we have 5,000 developers, and each one of them is rounding up the request by 10 or 15%, so he doesn't get a phone call in the middle of the night that his resources are starving, then you have 5,000 developers or an entire organization over-provisioned by 15%. That's something you'd probably like to know, and would probably like to do something about if you can simply have less infrastructure supporting the exact same applications. So this is the last layer that the Spot platform will help you monitor. We want to make sure that your applications are tightly coupled to their needs, and then the instances are tightly coupled to the applications, and then the pricing models are tightly coupled to that. And all of that should happen in real time based on application behaviors. So you're thinking to yourself, does this work everywhere? What type of use cases can I run with this? So as we mentioned in the beginning, many, if not all of them, have some way to benefit from better orchestration and automation. So obviously the classic ones that come to mind that I just discussed are the world of containers and microservices. They're very fault tolerant, they're ephemeral by nature, they're kind of a match made from heaven to excess capacity. But also cloud native applications that scale in and out and are able to, flex their size can be a good fit here. We're even able to run persistent applications while maintaining the root volumes, data volumes, and network interfaces between the instance replacements to be able to run more lift and shift or legacy type workloads. Obviously, running more sophisticated commitment models can also help that, which Spot by NetApp does. Some other classic use cases, high performance compute. You want to make sure you're able to leverage all of the power of the cloud. I think it was Jeff Barr that once spun up a 120,000 core high performance grid on a US East 1 excess capacity, and he didn't even budge the excess capacity there, and that was about 3 years ago. So there's more than plenty to go around for everyone who needs it. And of course, any data applications, batch processing jobs, MapReduce workloads, or anything like that would be a perfect fit for this type of orchestration.
So I think you ask yourself, where do you start? Our recommendation to you, start with cloud.netapp.com or just Spot.io. This is actually set for you. You can actually look into the workload you're working on. You can look into the technology that we just discussed and the place you want to tackle first. It is a perfect way for you to follow on this session and really get your hands on, start getting more from your cloud for less money. On the behalf of NetApp, the cloud specialist. I want to thank you for the opportunity to join you in this reInvent. And thank you, Tomer, for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Ronan, and I hope everyone is enjoying the virtual event and getting a lot of new information and knowledge here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.